What's happening, everyone? Welcome into a special edition of Final Whistle. Here I have one of my college buddies, Charlie Mule. He is now a media relations coordinator for the Washington football team. Charlie, I appreciate you taking some time out of your evening to take this interview on for me, one of your pals.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here, man. I'm looking forward to what you got for me. So let's fire away.
And you know me, I do have a little bit of bias as a Washington fan. So I got some questions, but we'll see.
Hey, man,
I
gotta ask you though, what makes you a Washington fan?
Well, so my dad actually grew up in the DC area for a little while when they were winning the Super Bowls with Theismann, Riggins, all that. It was when we had the Hogs, when we were known as the Hogs. We're not really the Hogs no
the
more,
Hogs,
but
yeah.
So
I'm still learning my history, but I got you.
Yeah. So, and then I'm the only kid that he was able to conform into being a fan. I was the only one he was able to get. The rest of the fam said, nah, no, not a chance.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, that's good. We'd like to have you here. So.
Of course, man. So I just want to get your overall, what has been the experience like of working in an NFL organization like the Washington football team?
Man, yeah, the NFL is a different beast, man. I mean, it's Sundays but everybody sees the Sundays, but they don't see really like the Monday through Saturday aspect of it, which is like in the trenches, grinding, practicing most of the week. And, we're doing media availabilities and getting guys to do different obligations that they have to do and, strategically doing different things. So it's just like, it's hard to explain, man. It's kind of surreal, being around guys that you see on TV every day. And it's a blessing. And I'm very fortunate to have had the opportunity to do it, even started in college with, at Seton Hall with you. And now kind of down here in Virginia, DC area, it's been a journey. And this year specifically has been a lot different with COVID. Everybody's made sacrifices, whether you're an equipment guy, you're a player, a coach, media guy, or, everybody in the building. We're tested every single day. We've been tested every single day since June. So, you have to go through that daily process, and, haven't been home or anywhere to see my family. Haven't really seen anybody since I left in June to come back down here. So, you make sacrifices and it feels good when you win, but it's all part of the process and the journey. So, it continues.
Yeah, picking back off of what you just said, how hard has it been on the players, the organization, yourself, without fans or limited fans in attendance at games, and then having to be tested constantly every day, like as you mentioned?
Yeah, man, it's weird. It's weird looking. I mean, for my specific role, I get to like stand in the bench area during the game. So, I'm down there. And last year when I was down there, you look up and you see 80,000 people screaming their heads off, having a good time in the stands, and it got loud. And you noticed how loud it was. Sometimes you felt like it was shaking, and to transition to this year where you look up and there's just nobody, or at some stadiums, there's very few. When we were in Dallas for Thanksgiving, I mean, that kind of felt more normal just because they had the most fans there that we've had this year. But, it's unique. It's unique, and it's not something that you want to ever see again. Like you don't, fans are a big aspect of the game. And I think everybody knows that. And, even though they may be there cheering on the couches or watching it on TV or whatever, like it's not the same not having them there. The guys, feed off that energy. And, it's been different. The testing process, I mean, first couple of weeks, I guess it was inconvenient for us, but knowing how important it is to do those things if you want to have a season, I mean, you get over it pretty quickly. And now just kind of being in that process of, winding down towards it, but understanding that we need to do this every day if we want to continue to go.
Yeah. Did your organization have stricter guidelines than the NFL had set? Did you guys have your own stuff set to make sure that you guys weren't breaking protocol and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, we have an infectious control officer who's also our head trainer. His name's Ryan Vermillion, and he's done a really, really great job, as well as Coach Rivera has, just kind of keeping the players and everybody kind of involved to buy into it. And, we have different ways you can walk around the facility. We also have different tiers. So, there's tier 1 and tier 2 who are the people that are around, the players the most. And then there's tier 3 who's like a different side, isolated side of the building. So you can look at that tier 2, but it's different. But again, like if you buy into it and I personally believe that the team that's going to come out on top is going to be the team that stays the healthiest. And, I mean, as you look around the league, you see different outbreaks in different teams, and you just try and avoid situations like that and do what you can to help out, so on a daily basis. I mean, I go to work, I live like 10 minutes down the road. I go to work, get the work done, try and work out or whatever it may be, get in the car and come right back here. I don't, we don't mess around and go out to eat or, I try and limit all contact.
I gotcha. So this is a interesting week for the football team as we have a chance to have an opportunity to win the division this week if you guys handle business against Carolina. I know the Carolina game was just moved back to the afternoon time slot, so you guys will know the result of Baltimore versus New York beforehand. Baltimore, if New York needs to lose and Washington needs to win to be able to clinch the division. What has been the motivation so far this week for the guys and throughout the season?
Yeah, man. I mean, Coach Rivera is really kind of praised, and the whole organization's kind of bought into just one day at a time, man. I mean, especially in these crazy times, you don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. So I know, like, a lot of guys have been saying in their interviews that it's kind of like they're just looking at practice tomorrow, just trying to take it literally one day at a time. And we know we're playing Carolina, and that's Coach Rivera's old team there. So, I'm sure there's a little extra buzz made about it, but really it's just one day at a time. It's still a football game at the end of the day. And, the preparation that goes into it for everybody in the organization remains the same.
Yeah, and then there's the potential of you guys actually finishing under 500 and to be able to potentially win the division. Does that affect the guys in any way, having a losing record and potentially being I know you said one day at a time, but still that's got to linger a little bit being one of those handful of teams?
Hey, man, you don't pick what division you play in. You don't pick who you play. So at the end of the day, I mean, whatever it takes to get in, we'll take it. I mean, if you were to say that, the team was gonna, sign up to be, at the end of the year, you could be 3 games over 500, but finish second in the division, or you can be 2 games under 500 and win the division. I mean, take the division. I mean, that's my personal philosophy. But if you got to win, if a win's a win, I mean, obviously you want to be above 500 and everything you do, but we're focusing on having the opportunity to close out. We got 2 games left. Maybe we pull out both of them and finish at 500. So, yeah. There's obviously a lot being said about the NFC East and how it hasn't been as good of a division, but we don't really pay much attention to that. I think it's it has good wins. It had a lot of tough opponents. We played Pittsburgh and some of these teams. I know Pittsburgh lost last night, but we were the first team to beat them, so I think we might have broke them a little bit. But no, I think it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then you've mentioned Coach Rivera a number of times already. What has his aura been in the locker room with battling cancer and now still coaching at the same time, now beating cancer? What is the organization been able to rally around him, and what is his overall motivation every day?
It's kind of funny, man. I see him a lot, throughout the day, and his presence is just felt immediately. He's kind of like Alex Smith in a sense too. Alex Smith and Coach Rivera, you can say the same things, like just the way that they go about their business. And he was doing chemo treatments, and there was a period during a game, I think it was against the Ravens earlier in the year, where he was struggling, man. He was struggling, and like he's still out there coaching. And like when you look at that, and you look at guys that are looking at that, and you see like what this guy's going through, and how he's still preparing and still coaching and watching film and doing everything he can, it really motivates you just naturally. Because when you look at somebody that's struggling, you're like, man, if they can go throughout their day and they're not pouting or crying or whining or whatever. I don't want to curse on here. I don't know if I can curse on here, but
it's all right. Go ahead.
It's motivating. It's personally motivating. Even for me, who's a PR guy. I mean, you look at that, you're like, okay, like if he's out here and he can stand out here and handle it, like we got to execute everything we have to execute, media wise. Like we got to be able to do these things. And it's the same thing with Alex. I mean, to see Alex come in every day, unsure of what the future held, and just the progress and the process that he goes through each day, whether it's working out or being present in the locker room or, I mean, it's still kind of crazy. You look at that guy and you're like, damn, man, that's Alex Smith. You watch him growing up, and now you're kind of working, but you see the process, and to get back onto the field, it's been surreal to see. So it's motivating just seeing those two work every day, and Coach Rivera specifically just come in here and obviously have a lot of things to deal with, and he just he continues to put everybody in a good position. So it's been a pleasure with him.
Yeah, how crazy is Alex Smith's work ethic in comparison to everyone else? Because he's got to do about 10 times probably as much more.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody works hard, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody works hard. Alex is a pro, right? I mean, I worked in New York as an intern and got to kind of see the insides of Eli Manning, the way he worked before he retired, and like they're the same person. A quarterback is that guy that leads and has to put the work in. And Alex is a guy that's the first in the facility and the last out, whether it's film study or handling his media. He doesn't like to waste time. He doesn't sit in the locker room on his phone very often. It's kind of like come in, do what he's got to do, move on to the next thing. And it's all scheduled for him. It's all time oriented and schedule oriented. So he's been a pleasure. He's been a pleasure to be around and just motivating from the start.
Absolutely. And then you guys have hired Jason Wright recently. What has been his philosophy coming in, especially when you guys have set in stone that he's going to focus only on the business side while Coach Rivera is going to focus on the football side?
Yeah, Jason's been a little bit of a breath of fresh air for us. I think I don't personally work with him that much just because I'm on the football side, but his office is kind of right next to mine, or I share an office with another person in the department. So we hear him, we see him, we talk to him, we laugh at him, kind of things like that. He's gonna put some things in place, hopefully that really propel us. He's already started the communication tactics and things internally that have been much better than they have in the past. So he's a very nice guy as far as the interactions I've had with him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else he does.
Absolutely. And so how's that working at the moment? If you could explain it a little bit better for the non-persons that really understand it.
Yeah, I will, but I mean, I keep looking at your wreath, man. Did you hang that yourself, or like what?
It's my mom. My mom hung it up.
Oh, okay.
Christmas decorations, bro.
It's funny. I see like the legs and the body. I don't see many hips on that Santa.
Yeah, it's a little Santa right there.
Yeah. See,
I wanted to make sure I had the whole Christmas feel for you while I came on.
See, that's good because I mean, my apartment doesn't have many. I just figured, you know what, man, if I hang up my stuff, I'm not going to be able to take it down. Like it'd be more of a process taking it down. It'll be up in June, still looking at the tree. So, but, no, man, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, Jason's pretty much head of business, team president, business side, and does, charitable work and a lot of HR things and, like the business side of a company. So like the way I look at it is the Washington football team has the football side, which is the players, the personnel. You got video scouting, equipment, trainers, strength staff, football PR, which is where we fall under. You got like operations, obviously everything that sets up hotels, all those types of things for the football team. And then you got Jason, who's more business oriented, which would just be like a regular company, right? Like HR things and how you can best put the company in the best light. So, it's pretty much like Jason and Ron coexist under the owner. And, they have a good, as far as I know, their relationship's pretty decent. And, like I said, I don't know much about the upper inner workings because I'm still a little guy, but, that's kind of where it stands.
Yeah. And the team has now called the Washington football team from the Washington Redskins. I do have to ask, what has been your guys' message to the Washington fan base about the whole process of changing the name and even like being the Washington football team now, especially from the legacy and of the history that was the Washington Redskins?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, growing up a Giants fan, I'm not too I'm still not overly in depth with the history of the Washington team. I'm still learning every day. I mean, you have you brought up the Hogs. I know the Hogs and the things that were going on then. Joe Theismann, obviously, and all those things. I'm sure that there's a sentimental value to history, like there is everywhere. But as far as this name is concerned, I mean, it's kind of like we just removed a part of the name, right? So our name is the Washington football team, but essentially it used to be the Washington Redskins football team. So if you just take out Redskins, you're still the Washington football team. And I kind of like the classic look. I mean, this is just me personally. I mean, I like the classic feel to it. I think a lot of, people have went into it, but you got to give our marketing and other departments in that business side credit for really like rebranding. I mean, man, when it went down, it was right kind of before training camp. So like there was a lot of work that needed to be done. And most of the time, I don't know, I'm sure you saw like the Cleveland Indians have decided like they're going to get rid of the Indians.
Yeah, they're going to keep it for now though.
Right. So they're going to keep it for a year, which then buys them like the time to be able to rebrand and then have a name set as opposed to like, not. And that was kind of like one of the things is like normally you get that year or 2 years to fully rebrand, and we had to do it in about 3 months. So, it's different. I like it. I haven't really paid overly much attention to it just because once you get in the flow of the season, your main goal is to just knock everything out that you're supposed to do. And, I'm sure in the off season, there'll be more speculation on if there's going to change or not. But again, those discussions are over my head. So
you don't know anything about the process going on right now? If there is a process?
No, I mean, it's, look, I wish I did. But no, I don't really know. I don't really know what goes on in terms of that. That's more business, man. I mean,
yeah. No, I understand.
I'm sure they're working hard on it though. And I hope that whatever it amounts to, people like. That's all I hope.
I'll tell you right now, if we make the playoffs, it'll be the Washington football team for the next 5 years. That's for sure.
Man, we'll see. I mean, geez, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We're hoping. We're hoping here. We're hoping. So I'm looking forward to this week's game just because it's exciting to play meaningful games, man. I mean, when you look at kind of where we were last year, we finished 3-13. Like you're when you're out of it, like week 12, week 13, there's no shot. And you still got to travel. You still got to go through you got to go through the processes of these games, and it's really kind of amounting to, do you want to even win, or do you want the draft pick, or do you want to do this or that? So it's kind of like playing in meaningful games in December. It's like, it's exciting. I wish the fans were there because it would be rocking, but we know they're watching from home.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna transition to some stuff that's been breaking the past couple of days. I don't know if I don't know if you can comment on it or not, but I'm still gonna ask as the journalist I am. So there was a leaked photo about Dwayne Haskins about being at a strip club. I don't know if you're allowed to comment or whatnot, so I'm just gonna ask, can you give me anything?
No.
Okay, I understand.
No, I really can't. It's not a no comment, but no, I can't.
All right, and then there was another story addressed today about Dan Snyder with the lawsuit paying over a some amount of money that was pretty ridiculous. Are you allowed to? I'm assuming that's a no too.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm so still like just in the beginning of
I just had to ask the question.
Yeah, no, I know, and I get it. It's no, I don't know really anything about it, to be honest. My focus right now, and like what I do know is that we have to kind of line up different players to do different things tomorrow and this week before the game, media wise. Production meetings, some in-house media, and then regular media stuff. Like that's kind of what I work with. So right now I don't know, just sit tight on it.
I understood. So what has been your greatest media piece that you've done so far with the team?
Man, I tell you what, the Good Morning Football is always fun. Good Morning Football is on NFL Network. I mean, look, everything you set up throughout the season is really cool because you get your guys that are kind of at the top who are requested a lot: Terry McLaurin, Chase Young, Alex Smith, those types of guys, and then you got your guys that are a little bit less but have big games and have played big. Our entire D line has been really good, man. I mean, those guys have been balling. So it's fun to see everything come to fruition. But some of the craziest, I guess, parts of it is when we work from home and you get a guy up on an interview or something and you're sitting at home and I'm like sitting on the couch where I am right now. I look at the TV and the guy's up there kind of talking and you're like, wow, like you played a role in that and now this is on TV. Like, this is kind of crazy, or, if you write a press release or some sort and it's like a breaking news release or something and all of a sudden NFL Network and ESPN have picked it up and you're like, hey, that came from my computer that's right next to me on this couch. So like, it's kind of a really cool experience to think that way. I mean, yeah, they're all great. One of the fun ones we just had was we had Chase Young do an interview with Michael Irvin on NFL Network pregame. I think it aired this past Sunday, just talking about kind of his first year and how he's grown and different things like that. So that one was cool, man. You get to see, obviously it's all Zoom, it's all virtual this year. So there's no really in-person stuff, but it makes it harder to set up because you got to get guys to get on laptops and get phones and, you run around doing everything digitally. But yeah, man, I mean, that one was cool. I don't really know if I have a fit. The best ones come after you win. So when you do an on-field interview, after the broadcast is wrapping up and you get a guy to do the on-field interview with Pam Oliver or something, those are the best because you just got to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my last question is what would you say to the aspiring collegiate, let's say you back in college, what would you say to yourself back in the day to get right now where you are?
I'd probably say, man, what are you, crazy? No, I mean, I think it's hard to do. It's hard to work in sports, man. Like, opportunities are obviously limited, and there's a lot
Especially
of competition.
With COVID.
Yeah, and that's when I was, with COVID. I mean, the biggest thing is you just can't get discouraged. I mean, it only takes one. So if you apply to 7, 10, 20, 50 jobs, right? And they're all denials, but that 51st one's a yes. None of those 50 matter. Like you can't get discouraged. You can't ever really stop pushing. I think, there were times in college where I was a little crazy. I think people thought, or at least some of my friends were like, man, what the hell are you doing? Like, do you ever like stop? And I think hard work does pay off. But for those people that do have internships and have worked with companies and things like that, the biggest advice I give is to keep in touch with those people. The reason why I have a job down here, I interned with the Giants in 2016, and one of my fellow interns is now my boss here. We worked together and he was a little bit older, but I was, he was out of school. I was a junior, I think. And I kept in touch with him just as much as I kept in touch with the full-time people that were there at the time. And keeping in touch with not just the full-time people, but everybody that you work with, whether it's an intern, an assistant, somebody that you've had interactions with, you have to keep in touch with those people because you never know where they're going to end up. And if they end up somewhere with an opening or they have an opportunity or they know something, you never know. So don't just talk to the people that are above you and the bosses and the directors and everybody else. Talk to the people that you're working with because you're not competing. You guys are getting experience together, so always keep in touch with everybody and just be as open as you can be to relocation and to experience. I think that's the biggest thing.
Without a doubt. Well, Charlie, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your evening to talk to me. I know you've got a little bit of a hectic schedule heading into potentially a division crown. Hey, so thanks for coming on. I miss you, man. So
yeah, man. When you asked me to come on, I was like, man, he wants to talk to me. Man, I don't know why he wants to talk to me.
Yo, right. You got to watch the pod. I've been running through Seton Hall, guys.
Hey, man, I got. Yeah, you know what? I did see one. I don't remember exactly when or who. I saw Pearsos. I saw John Pearsos was on, and I was like, oh, okay. So I gave him a listen. I ended up texting him and was like, oh man, I just saw you. But man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I like the Christmas decorations, and I'm wishing you guys a happy, healthy holiday season, obviously, and stay safe. And look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely, my man. Happy holidays to you too. Hopefully you'll be celebrating on Sunday. Following protocol, though, of
Of
celebration
course.
following protocol. But
Wearing
hopefully it'll be a
masks
good
always.
celebration as a Washington fan myself. So
Yeah, there you go. Hey, just make sure everybody masks up, man. We're getting through this
absolutely.
thing. We're almost to the end. So just follow the right protocols, man. I mean, if NFL guys can do it, or at least most guys can do it, just keep on doing it, and we'll get through it all.
Absolutely. Well, this was a special edition of Final Whistle. Have a good evening, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.